Hurricane Ian battering Florida tonight. The enormous storm crashed ashore as a Category 4 this afternoon. Entire cities are in its crosshairs tonight. Wind speeds were near 150 miles an hour. The storm surge peaking at about 12 feet. The water swallowing cars and neighborhood streets.
Wind and rain blanketing an entire state. The devastation far from over as Ian takes aim up the interstate headed for North Carolina. The storm is now a Category 1. 2.5 million people evacuated, nearly 2 million more in the dark tonight. Good evening, I'm Julie Luck.
And I'm Chad Silber. These are satellite images of that storm's eye this afternoon. As it moves inland, we are sure to see more power outages, flooding, and damage. Areas near Jacksonville and St. Augustine are under partial evacuation orders tonight. Fort Myers has been the hardest hit so far. County leaders called for a 6 p.m. curfew as 911 operators scramble to answer calls.
Many first responders there caught in the wrath of the storm themselves. This is video of a fire station in Naples. Firefighters had to wade through the floodwaters to salvage equipment from their trucks.
And look what happened to a sheriff's office outreach center in Fort Myers. Powerful floodwaters picked up the trailer and floated it through the streets. The danger is far from over. A lot more people are still in the hurricane's path.
Tim, where is the storm now and where is it headed next?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a problem for the Carolinas, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is coming our way. Now, the good news is that it's weakening. Now it's already weakened a lot from where it was earlier today. Right now, latest stats from the Hurricane Center, literally just minutes ago getting this. Winds are now at 90 miles per hour as of 11 o'clock. It is still moving north and east, and it continues to slowly deorganize as you would expect when it's over land. Earlier today, it made landfall near Fort Myers. It's going to move up toward Cape Canaveral right there and then re-emerge over the Atlantic Ocean. Such a powerful storm. This is what it did in Florida earlier today. Wind speeds truly remarkable, well over 100 miles per hour. It is a Cat 1 now, but a lot of people are wondering, what about when it goes over this ocean? Could it re-strengthen? That is still possible. Not a lot of difference between 65 miles per hour and 75. So South Carolina, the coastal areas, they have to be on guard for possible strong impacts from that storm. When it tracks inland to the Triad, it is forecast to be a tropical storm or a tropical depression. That means weaker winds, but still a lot of rain. And still, I want you to be prepared for the possibility of maybe some limited power outages and some localized flooding. We have a full timeline on Triad impacts. Going to be right back with you in a couple minutes to break it all down.
Tim, thanks. We get some incredible views of the storm on the ground, but take a look at it from above. This is video from just above the clouds. Hurricane hunters shot it while flying overhead today. They measure the temperature, wind speed, and humidity. That information goes to the National Hurricane Center, then out to the public. Back on the ground, the data becomes reality. This is video from the backside of the storm's eye, wind and rain racing across the sky. And look at this video from Naples, a house totally submerged, floating down the street. A river of floodwater taking heaps of debris along with it. Look at the aerial view of those floodwaters in Naples. A woman took this video on a balcony overlooking the street. It is all water as far as the eye can see.
The CBS station in Fort Myers had to go off the air today after they lost power. This is what their parking lot looks like. The cars appear to be parked in a lake. Some are fully submerged, the water creeping up to about knee-high near the TV station's front door. At last check, the station was still off the air, instead bringing viewers information on the radio and also on social media. The floodwaters know no boundaries. This is video from inside of a hotel stairwell. Water rising up the stairs, looking like a scene out of the Titanic. At a different hotel in Sanibel Island, the wind flung open the front sliding doors. Hotel workers and guests had to help hold them closed to keep water and debris out. As state leaders issue more warnings, millions hunker down.
I urge Floridians who have made the decision to shelter in place, to stay indoors, and stay off the roads.
This is not just a 48-hour ordeal. This is going to be something that is going to be there for days and weeks and months.
The federal government's going to be there to help you recover. We'll be there to help you clean up and rebuild, to help you get Florida get moving again.
We're doing the best we can, and we all come together as a community, and you can't ask for more than that.
I did the right thing coming to the shelter. I came yesterday.
The FEMA Command Center in Washington, D.C. is buzzing tonight. They are working with state and local leaders to get them the resources they need. Meals and clean water will move in once the storm moves out. Groups from our state are looking to help out too. WFMY News 2's Ariel Cadet found out how they will work to provide the essentials to people who lost everything.
Help is on the way for folks living in Florida who are experiencing the effects of Hurricane Ian.
So we've been watching, along with everybody else, this storm approaching over the last week or so. And so we are deploying our disaster relief units to the hardest hit areas.
Samaritan's Purse has helped out in several disaster relief efforts. Just this week, they sent teams to Puerto Rico to help with the aftermath of Fiona. Others are already headed to Florida, and more will leave in the next few hours.
And then what we'll be doing is assessing and partnering with local churches in the area to do tarping, to cut down trees, and certainly to muck out houses that have been flooded.
Duke Energy workers are also lending a helping hand. Linemen from the Midwest are already on the scene in Florida. The utility company says crews from the Carolinas are staying put to see how the storm affects us here.
We're keeping track of the storm because we can usually tell what kind of impact that storm could make and what kind of outages we're looking at. We're also just making sure we're up to speed on materials and transformers and wires, the things that we need to go out in the field and restore power.
Duke Representative Randy Wheelis says crews have been taking precautions like trimming trees and wants you to take some of your own precautions too.
So it's a matter of just going through your home and saying, if I have an outage, am I prepared? And if high winds come through, are there things in my yard or elsewhere that are going to be blowing away, and I don't want that to happen.
Samaritan's Purse workers leave at 8 a.m. tomorrow from North Wilkesboro. If the Carolinas aren't hit too hard, Duke Energy says it might send more linemen to Florida.
All right, let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley again. Tim, it's really just kind of a watch and wait in our area, but it sounds like maybe 36 to 48 hours still.
Not that far away, Chad. You know, I think the earliest we could start to see that rainfall would be Friday morning. That's not far away from now, and that Friday morning commute could be a soggy one and a windy one. That's how we're kind of viewing this at this time. Right now, as we said just a minute ago, it's weakened to a Category 1 storm, but it is going to go back over the water. Why does this thing not blow up and strengthen a lot? Well, there are competing factors. There's going to be dry air getting into the hurricane and some harsh winds that help to kind of act against strengthening. Still, though, we have tropical storm warnings along the South Carolina coast, and that track goes right up into the triad Friday and Saturday. Here's the time frame. Tomorrow, this is your day to prep. Clear out the gutters, make sure your drainage is okay in the yard. That helps for flooding, and also maybe secure any loose objects that could be flying around if we have those 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. This is Thursday, so it'll be breezy tomorrow, but nothing too terrible. Friday morning, that's 5 a.m. This is the morning. There you see the midday. That's when it starts to get a little bit worse with heavier rain and tropical downpours Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and those overnight hours. It could clear out pretty quickly on Saturday. So this is trending toward a Friday morning through Saturday morning event for us. Rain will be arriving in bands, gusting 35 to 45 miles per hour throughout the day on Friday. Yes, we do have a risk of power outages, but it's pretty low. We also have a risk of flooding, but that too is kind of moderate for our area. Be ready for a lot of rain, some gusty winds. We'll get through it together.
Our area is preparing for the remnants of Ian. Revolution Mill in Greensboro is right on Buffalo Creek. It sees lots of flooding when strong storms come through. The complex installed flood panels and had residents move their cars to higher ground just in case. Governor Roy Cooper issued a state of emergency for North Carolina this afternoon. Different areas could see different effects. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland found out how our state is preparing and looking to help others.
That state of emergency declaration is all about preparedness. It will allow our state to get federal help if we need it. It protects against price gouging of fuel and supplies. It waives size and weight requirements for relief vehicles, and it also allows farmers to transport livestock and crops without weighing. Those last two make it faster to move supplies quickly. State leaders recommend having a hurricane supply kit and making a family emergency plan.
If you did need to evacuate, know where you would go. We recommend first to stay with family or friends or at a hotel if you need to evacuate, and to leave shelters sort of as a place of last resort for those that have nowhere else to go.
DOT workers across the state are preparing gear like chainsaws, backhoes. A spokesperson says it'll put our state in a good position to respond to whatever comes our way.
Hope to do some preventative work out there that can maybe keep our drain inlets and that kind of thing flowing, free flowing culverts, to keep water off of roadways where it might otherwise have collected if it's clogged up.
About 1,000 state DOT workers are also on standby. The big advice is to stay off the road during the storm and never drive or walk through standing water. There is a lot of help from our state headed down to Florida. Part of that, more than 1,000 blood donations from the Blood Connection. But with it off the shelves here, the group is asking for more donations to replenish supplies to our hospitals.
You're going to see heavy winds and a lot of rain. So we're seeing our hospitals reach out ahead of time and hoping to stock up ahead of this weekend.
They say donating before the storm gets here could save a lot of lives along Ian's path.
Disappointment for Winston-Salem State football fans. The university canceled most of its homecoming events because of Ian, including the football game. Winston-Salem State was set to take on Lincoln University at home on Saturday. At this time, the game has not been rescheduled. Full refunds will be offered. Fans anticipated this bad news before it was announced.
I don't know. It'll kind of be sad if we don't get to go to the game and do tailgating because it's a hurricane outside. Well, hopefully they just push it back or push it up and not cancel it altogether. But yeah, we just gotta pray for the best.
The school says, quote, "This decision is unfortunate for our university family, but safety remains our highest priority." Most Triad High School football games will be played a day early, and that means Friday Football Fever has been moved to tomorrow. Check out highlights from across our area on WFMY News 2 at 11 tomorrow night.
The Carolina Classic Fair says it still plans to open this weekend. Organizers say they checked with the National Weather Service and determined it'll stay the course and open on Friday. They say rides could be put on hold because of heavy rain, lightning, or high winds. There are many indoor attractions for visitors to escape the wet weather. Another closure announced tonight. Spooky Woods at Kersey Valley will be closed Friday and Saturday, just the second weekend of the season. Organizers say they plan to reopen next Friday.
Do not miss an update on Hurricane Ian. New details are constantly coming into our information center. Text the word Ian to 336-379-5775. Our weather team will send the latest right to you. The storm's track, the timeline, and the forecast for your area. We'll be on top of it all as the storm tracks through Florida and moves to our state. You and your family can also get the latest by downloading the free WFMY News 2 app.
Your other news headlines are just ahead. In Greensboro, neighbors help police investigate the murder of a restaurant owner. What they say about the 2-year-old case. In Winston-Salem, police arrest a man they say set 2 deadly house fires. The charges he now faces. And we've got another look at Hurricane Ian's path, where it's headed next, and when it could get here. That's next.
New at 11, rapper Coolio died tonight at the age of 59. His manager shared the news but did not say how he died. Police say there were not any signs of foul play. The Los Angeles-based rapper was best known for his Grammy Award-winning single, Gangsta's Paradise. He was one of the most successful rappers of the 1990s.
Greensboro neighbors walked the streets tonight helping investigators on a canvassing mission. They're looking for new leads in the murder of a Triad restaurant owner. Mark Friedman, the owner of Mark's Restaurant, died 2 years ago. Someone shot and killed him right outside his restaurant. Tonight, his friends, supporters, and police gathered on Dolly Madison Road near the restaurant. They put up flyers to help solve this cold case. The reward for information is up to $30,000.
Mark was a great guy. He was He was one of our dear friends, and he loved this city more than anything. He just thought so highly of Greensboro, and it was a very important thing for him to do to help other people in this town, and we just desperately miss him.
Tonight's walk comes just days before a fundraising dinner and golf tournament in Friedman's name.
Winston-Salem police say one man is responsible for 2 deadly house fires. 68-year-old Russell Marshall faces first-degree arson charges. His bond is set at $1 million. The first fire happened back in June. A home went up in flames on Renegar Street. Firefighters found the body of 81-year-old Barbara Harmon after putting out the flames. The second fire happened last Sunday on 22nd Street, and that is where investigators found the body of Jesse Scott.
The latest weekly COVID update from the state shows a promising trend. The number of COVID patients in North Carolina hospitals has taken a nice dip. The latest number is 890. It's the first time this number has dropped below 900 since July 3rd, nearly 3 months ago. All right, let's expand this graph to show all of this year. I've highlighted the days at the end from the last graph to give you some perspective. We've come a long way from the days in January when hospitals were treating more than 5,000 COVID patients at a time. At our lowest point this year, patient count was around 350 back in April. We're not there yet, but we are getting close.
Millions are without power across Florida tonight. Hurricane Ian's wind and rain packing a punch with more to come. This is a time lapse of the storm surge in Sanibel. As the hurricane rages, the picture keeps filling up with water. Eventually it gets so high you can't see the street or the houses. It is all just water. Tim, here in the Piedmont Triad, we'll be seeing water as well, but a lot less of it.
A lot less, Julie, that's for sure. This is going to be a historic hurricane. It already has been. We just haven't seen all of the damage just yet. I'm a little worried what we'll see tomorrow in Florida. One more look at this thing from outer space just to kind of document this from a weather perspective. When you look inside the eye, you can actually see smaller swirling vortices, little tiny pinwheels inside the hurricane, which only